Shaking a martini.
I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and it's hot.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? It's not like hot here, but it's humid. We have probably close to 100% humidity. So even though it's like 82 or something like that, it feels like 99.
That's not good.
No.
Anyway, it is Thursday. I think it's July 9th. And we are the Players. We're not on the road. We're not at any event. It feels good to be home.
Well, I'm always home, so I'm good.
Yeah. All right. So you're gonna be out next week, right?
Yeah, gonna be celebrating my wife's 80th birthday in Newfoundland, in the village she was born, besides me, another 99 people.
Okay. No, that's a nice round number of 100. That's really cool. Congratulations and happy birthday. Gotta be cool to celebrate with the people that actually knew you from like the beginning.
Yeah, well, when you're 80, there's not a ton of those.
No, but she's got siblings and family.
Oh no, and there's one or two people who are like her aunts and people like that who are still around, because that's one of those things where it's kind of where your aunts and uncles are like 3 years older or 3 years younger than you are, depending.
Well, it's still, I mean, I actually have a first cousin who is I think she'll be 91.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's a couple we were counting them up the other day, me and my sister. There are a lot of octogenarians in our family, so I don't know.
Which is awesome.
It'll definitely, kind of
bodes well. Well, you have nonagenarians, a lot of them. That's 90. You have a lot of 90 plus people in your family, actually, which is amazing.
Not as many as there used to be, but
well, that's how it goes. To 90. That's sort of what happens.
But, yeah, that's how it goes. But it's cool. It's very cool to have people around like that.
I'm hoping to join those nonagenarians in your family as an extended member.
Absolutely. So, well wishes and congratulations to, I like to just call her YG.
So. And I will absolutely pass that on. She's currently in Duck, North Carolina, which I'm sure is subject to all those old jokes about duck.
Yeah, exactly. I was getting ready to throw one of them old jokes out there.
I actually figured that, which is why I kind of cut it off at the point.
All right. Well, we better get to the moment of Sven, because Sven is kind of getting finicky.
Finicky?
I talk about old, really bad jokes. All right. The moment of Sven.
Greek.
Looks Greek to me too.
Yeah, but it's Greek. It's like Greek script. It's Greek though.
It's scripted Greek.
Well, you know what? I'll say it's Greek, and I'm going to stay with it, but it may not be. It could be Cypriot. It could be. I mean, it could be a bunch of things, but I'll stick with Greek. And the Yankees are now winning 10-3.
Sven, let us know if it's Greek to him and everybody else. By the way, Rebecca says, happy birthday.
Thank you, Rebecca. She loves my Yvonne. I remember when she met Rebecca, she just loved Rebecca now. When she first met her.
Was Patrick with her?
No, that was the thing. She loved Rebecca without Patrick. That means unconditionally.
Damn.
That's unconditional love.
Gotta love that.
Absolutely adored Rebecca immediately.
You got it. Greetings from the beer garden.
I was right though. Oh wow, is that where Sven? You're out having a beer today? Oh, you know what? If I drank beer, that's what I'd want to do. I'd want to be in a beer garden somewhere.
I've never been in a beer garden before.
I was actually in a beer garden, although it was in. No, I think it might have even been in Munich. I was doing something with Infor. Actually, years and years ago. Was it Infor? And they took me to Europe, and we went and had a beer in a beer garden. And we went to Munich we took a first class train. Like we took a train and in first class, and it was awesome. You're real awesome first class, man. It was nothing like American first class. You know what it means? You have a little more seating. The air conditioning may be a little better. and you get a free, you get a ticket for a free drink like Coca-Cola. Um, but in your rail first class, they come around with a cart of food and pastries and alcoholic drinks if you want them, and high end kind of regular drinks. And if you just want a regular old drink, you got that too. But you have the options and it's big, lots of room. It was awesome, man. It was the best train experience I ever had, I think.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, about 20
Uh,
years ago.
yeah, well, you know how it goes. So you're right. You got the moment it's been right again.
I'm
Yeah,
back on track.
that even rhymes.
I
All
got
right.
thrown by Klingon, and I hadn't been the same ever since. But I am back, as is the Yankees, who finally scored 10 runs, which is five five more than they've scored in 21 games, and they were beating the crap out of the Tampa Bay Rays today, and I'm so happy.
We can kind of tell. All right. So we got a couple of things we're going to cram in here. We're going to do a like a pop up, like we've been doing lately, where they're not
A quick take.
a part of the. I don't know. I've been calling them
You,
both.
you were the one who called it quick take to begin with, right?
And actually, it is a
And
quick
I was the
take.
one who actually was calling it a pop up, and now somehow you're calling it a pop up, and I'm calling it a quick take.
So we'll just keep going back and forth, I guess. So we decided, well, it was too late in the week. We'll just roll it in to the regular show. But the thing that really got everybody talking this week, HubSpot, and not for the right reasons. Matter of fact, everybody was wondering what were they thinking. Now,
What was the
just
story again?
well, just to preface this, yeah, I guess preface. Um, we've known them a long time.
Yes, we have.
And so we're not out there trying to take shots or anything.
No.
Matter of fact, this is how long we've known them.
Oh
Look
my
at
God.
this picture.
Oh my friggin' God.
That is on the right, co-founder of HubSpot, Dharmesh Shah.
Look how I mean you look young and bald. He
Yep.
looks just kind of really young compared to what he looks like now, especially. He's kind of filled
Well,
out a bit.
this was taken at the very first inbound. This is like 2009. So we are talking like 17 years. So we've known, both of us have known, we did some advisory work in the early days. We were like one of the first few
I
analysts.
think we're the last two advisors they ever had.
I doubt that, but that was a long time ago. So I mean, we've known these guys a very long time. But and they are celebrating their 20th anniversary literally last month, 20 years. And I always remember that because in July of 2006, I got this email from this dude named Brian Hannigan. And Halligan. Yeah, Brian, see, it's that long ago. Brian Halligan. And he just wanted to send me an email and say he appreciated the stuff I was writing about at the time, and that I might be interested in learning more about their company that they just started a month ago. And it's called HubSpot. So we've done them a long time, which makes this this headline in this article really surprising. Apparently, HubSpot was kind of caught. Well, I don't know if it's caught is the right word to say, but they were changing a policy in order to allow them to use customer data to enrich their training data for AI. But the thing that really stood out was it was a opt-out policy because it was a default opt-in. So if you have been a customer for HubSpot for all these years, all of a sudden, all that data that you put into that system and customer data, the policy is going to change to make that available to them for training purposes, unless you change the default, which was an opt-in default. Oh, and it went out. Oh, I think I even have the email that went out. Let's see if I got it. Why is this not moving? Oh,
I don't know.
The wrong thing. There is the email that actually went out. Now it's kind of hard for you to see, but I think I got the a little highlight, which would have been better on a different background. But here's the gist. As always, you have complete control over your settings. You can review or modify your data enrichment settings anytime. To ensure data is not collected and shared by HubSpot moving forward, you can opt out of your data being used for AI model training. In other words, if you don't do opt out, you are opted in by default, and your data is basically potentially being used by your competitors because they have a lot of companies that use their platform, and a lot of those customers compete against each other. And if you don't opt out, all your data is going to be wrestled in with all everybody else's data. That was not good.
No.
Matter of fact, people are really pissed. I saw this tweet. This is really, I don't know who this person is, but I was like, wow. Okay, HubSpot, give me another reason to boycott you. Wow, that's kind of rough. If you're a business using HubSpot or any CRM for that matter, this is your PSA to read the email print. As you'll soon realize that your data has started becoming our data, according to HubSpot. It didn't take long for this to blow up in their face, and they did to their benefit. They listened, they realized they were wrong, they said sorry, and they reversed the policy. But talk about this situation.
Well, look, I'm put it this way. Many years ago, I was speaking at a user conference. I won't say who, but it wasn't HubSpot, but it was another one. And I asked the audience, how many of you use your default is opt in? And a good percentage of the audience raised their hand. And my response to them was, well, let me just say this. I hate you. That was literally my response. Right. And I was trying obviously to shock them a little bit because it was to me, it's such a heinous idea. And then the other thing that kind of gets me about this, aside from them having done that, is their explanation to it. Like, oh yes, you have complete control over your settings. Well, you know what? That doesn't mitigate a damn friggin' thing, because by the time I find out that you did this, since you obviously didn't come to me in advance and say, hey, by the way, we're thinking of putting the default to opt in for our use of your data. You good with that? They didn't even bother with that. They just did it. What you read when they backed away, look, again, like you, I known the company a long time. You introduced me to them, in fact, and I like the people I know there. Haven't really talked to them a lot in recent years, but the reality is this was an abominable response, and then backing out was just, I don't honestly think they backed out because we listened to the customers. I think they backed out because we have a potential disaster on our hands, right? Is why they backed out. As if you had 20 customers, and that was it, who said, well, I really wish you wouldn't do it, they would still be doing it, right? This wasn't a moral and ethical change in their beliefs, I don't think. And it's sad because it shouldn't happen in the first place. And in this particular case, I'm not really giving them the benefit of the doubt. I just am not. It's convenient to back out at a point when there's enough of a HubSpot bub spot that they had to back out because it could have been a disaster for them.
Well,
So.
I think I saw literally the next day. I should have made a screenshot of this. There was an article that said from Wired. It said Meta now lets anyone use your Instagram photos and AI images unless you opt out. You know what? That's a yarner. You know why that's a yarner? It's because we expect stuff like that from Meta and some of these other social networks. It's also a yarner because people use those platforms and we're not paying money. So you don't have a whole lot to be that upset about.
Key point there.
And then you think about the reaction. Most people just yawn, but the HubSpot reaction, to basically doing the same kind of thing, that opt-in thing. It was an outrage to a lot of people because they are paying lots of money every month for using that platform. And then this is enterprise software. This is CRM. This is customer data. It's very hard to understand why they did that, but there is I think one explanation. I'm just throwing it up in my mind. Their stock price has been killed there, and this is not just them, it's an overall industry thing, but they've been killed. Their high is over around 819 per share. It's under 200 now. Ooh. And I'm sure there's the investors, there's a lot of activist investors out there, and there's a lot of AI anxiety out there. And I think these companies are feeling pressured to do stuff that I don't think they would have even thought of doing even a couple of years ago. But the situation now, I think it makes them do things they wouldn't do. And I think this might be one of them.
No, and I don't disagree with you. Look, I mean, I remember, speaking of Meta, many years ago, Meta had this thing where they were it said in the terms and conditions that they could use your data while you were, when you were subscribed, as long as you were using Meta, they could use your data. But what made it really bad was that when you left Meta, they could continue. They said they could continue to use your data. Now, on the one hand, if you take the second part out, you know what? You're not paying for Meta. This isn't a free ride. Then something you need to be giving them something in order for them to give you something. And I got that, but not the second part. The second part was a whole other story where when look, the point is very simple. And it really goes to the heart of what you said. If I wasn't paying money, that still wouldn't be a good thing, but I could at least understand why they would do it. I still think it would be a good thing. No, you aren't. When it came to Meta, no, you were not. Meta just had the right to use your data, period. As long as they wanted to, if you ever had been a Facebook registered user, period. So the thing is with HubSpot, the thing is, to your point, you're paying them. That's what you get.
You're paying a lot,
right? And that's the point. You get something in exchange for money as a customer. HubSpot gets money. That's what they get, and they don't have any even close, even on any level. They have no right to even use anybody's data without permission. Period. Now, even if Meta was doing it, and you were a registered user, I would still say the same thing now. Back then, I at least said, well, they have to get something in return, but not the way they do things. So right now, I would probably change my mind about what I said then. So to your point, I redouble what you said. People are paying money. That's what HubSpot gets. They do not have, even under any circumstance, the right to use that data without permission.
He was talking about HubSpot.
Who was? Oh, you mean
I don't know.
Oh, he means Christopher was talking about HubSpot.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah, and either way, Christopher. Yeah, no, nobody has the right to the data that we know of.
And the other
doesn't matter. They backed out.
I think the other thing that it was buried in a bit of an email that I guess the people that mattered got. A lot of people that are watching everything now, you can't get anything past anybody, especially with these AI systems that are basically probably going through your email to check for stuff. Because I think there was in that article, one of their competitors was named, and he was going off. I forget the guy's name. And so it's not just your customers that are looking at this stuff and looking for ways or things, but it's your competitors, and you can't play around with people's data. No enterprise software companies cannot play at all with anybody's data. And if you try to do stuff, I'm surprised it took this long for it. It didn't take long at all, but you can't do this. even as smart as a company as HubSpot, I think sometimes desperate times call for things that you wouldn't do, the actions that you usually wouldn't take. I think this is one of them.
Well, think of it this way: even if it wasn't an ethical issue, which it is, even if it wasn't, it's really stupid because there are a trillion lawsuits on this out there already, right? On people suing other people for misuse of personal and customer data is personal data, suing people for misuse of that. There's regulation now that's in place against that, or beginning to be in place, if not there already. I mean, there are things that already say don't do this because it's not only is it unethical, it's just plain dumb, right? Outright dumb. And to your point, if you're desperate, but HubSpot, you don't have any particular reason to be desperate. I don't care what your stock price is. You've been a respected company, for a long time. Things go up and down in this world, and I get it. A lot of you lost about 67%,
75%,
75% of your value happened.
That's rough.
You're not going to change it by doing things like this. Let's just put it that way.
No, and I just want to reiterate though. I think I can speak for you. We both think a great deal of Dharmesh.
Yes. Oh, I love him.
He was the one that he made the apology. I just think this is a little bit of, harsh times make you do things you might not think of doing. Well, I hope this is just something like that, and it won't happen again. I hope
other companies take note of what happened so that they don't do it either, because they do it.
Some of them do it all the time,
Right.
But in the enterprise software space, you can't do that stuff and think you're going to get away with it. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's move on. I got a bit of a I'm going to have to cut this down because we got executive AdvisorE from Esteban, and he loves the name. I hear he loves the name. I mean, I don't know.
Good thing we don't call it executive AdvisorE.
But before we do that, this is going to become a segment too. I already love it because I love the name itself. We are doing, for the very first time on the CRM Playaz show, CRM Playaz versus the LLMs.
Okay. By the way, I just want everybody to know Brent springs these things on me. I have no idea what we're doing. So I don't even know what this is.
I had to cut it down.
Oh, I'm all for it because it
was going to be longer, but we rolled quick. What are we calling this thing? Quick takes.
Quick takes.
Why do I like pop-ups all the time?
Well, I like pop-ups better too. That's why I called it that in the beginning. Wow. So let's call it pop-ups.
I have to change it
now. CRM Playaz pop-ups.
All right, but for now, it's CRM Playaz versus the LLMs. What we're doing here is I really hate that they messed up my graphics. Anyway, so what we're doing, and for this one, we take a prompt that asks a question about something we think is really important. And then we run this prompt through at least 3 of these guys. So this one is for Gemini, Claude, and wait a minute, that's ChatGPT first.
Yeah.
Then Claude, then Gemini. And since we just crossed over into the second half of 2026, I thought it'd be interesting to ask these things. What have been the top 3 stories of the first half of 2026 when it comes to CRM and CX? So very quickly, maybe we'll even get the irascible one to be a part of this. We'll see. We're going to take a quick look at what each of these suckers said. And let's we'll see if we like them, if we don't, or if we think we have better stuff. We got better
off the top of my head, who the hell knows? I mean, there's a lot of stories.
Yeah. So, I'm just saying top 3.
Yeah.
All right. So, I think the first one we're looking at is Gemini, responses from Gemini. Oh, and see, this is what I like about Gemini. This is the Gemini response to that one prompt. It actually gave a little summary before it did a deeper dive into the top 3. So, this is what Gemini said. If we boil down the first half of 2026 into the 3 absolute biggest market defining shifts in CRM and CX, Wow, that sounds pretty good. That's a
Did
good
you
build up.
call it that, or is that the way Gemini came back with it?
That's what Gemini came back with.
Well, now we'll see how accurate that is. Market defining
It
shift.
comes down to a battle over pricing models, the transition of a massive ecosystem, and an existential. Wow, that was hard. Existential narrative that gripped Wall Street. That was the summary.
Gemini's obvious Hollywood studio background.
They really dramatized things.
That was like the total drama in that thing.
All right, so let's go into and instead of just seeing a bunch of text, I actually asked it to give me an image for each of these things, these stories. So this is the first one that came. Said this is number one, the great CRM reinvention from selling seats to orchestrating outcomes. Now, do you want me to read the actual text? I can do that. Or do you like the visual? I can read the just a little bit here. All right, so this is what the text that drove this visualization. If I can only find it. All right. The SaaS apocalypse panic versus the pivot to agent force. Is that the right one? Yeah, it is. The biggest narrative of the year has been the deep anxiety surrounding traditional SaaS. Wall Street. See, it went to Wall Street. Interesting. It went to Wall Street. Wall Street spent the first half of 2026 hammering traditional enterprise software stocks over fears that autonomous AI agents would eliminate the need for seat-based licensing, a trend dubbed as SaaS apocalypse. And then it really went specific. Salesforce bore the brunt of this early market skepticism, but aggressively countered by leaning entirely into Agent Force in its massive $3.6 billion acquisition of AI customer agent company Fin. Wow. That was just done like a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? That's interesting. This forced a massive platform war with ServiceNow as both companies race to prove they can transition from seat-selling legacy databases to the definitive orchestration layer for the autonomous enterprise. That's the number one story.
That's why there's no way we're getting through 9 of these in a short time.
I'm just going to do real quick.
Okay.
Just a real quick. I just like these graphics. The second one is the death of the per seat model and the shift to pay per resolution.
It's kind of the same one.
Kind of.
Different take on the same thing.
And then the last one, the backlash against chatbot deflection and the focus on customer effort score.
The failed AI cost cut. All right.
So that's I'm not gonna. I'll put the actual definitions out there, but that's what Gemini came back with. Let's go quickly to. All right, so that's Claude. Now this is what Claude came up with. Let's just focus on the number ones because we're gonna lose. Well, we gotta get this one. So the number one for Gemini was the great CRM reinvention, SaaS apocalypse panic.
Okay.
Claude came up with. Make sure I got the right one here. All right. Claude came up with this. Agentic AI moves from pilot to core infrastructure. All right. So it's basically agents taking the main stage. And once again, notice this one calls out Salesforce in the $3.4 billion acquisition of Fin as well.
Yeah, that's odd.
But so this is Claude. Gemini said the same thing. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what. Oh, I got to go to this guy for the last one. Yeah. So this is going to be ChatGPT 5.4. Their number one is the trading post pivot from system of record to system of action, the great CRM evolution.
Well, so they're all semi-similar. If I'm if I'm combining all of them, I would say obviously agentic AI, the move to agentic AI is kind of a dominant theme. The SaaS, what they're calling the SaaS apocalypse, but the change in pricing models is kind of a dominant theme. And then there's a bunch of little in-between things which seem to revolve around Salesforce. Would I say those are the biggest stories?
Those are what they said. Yeah.
Well, to their point. Well, again, I don't know what the hell mine are, and I didn't know we were doing this, so how would I know what they are? That said, though, um, do I think those are both big stories? Do I think the SaaS apocalypse was the real thing? No, I think we've all discussed that over and over again. I think that was frightened, completely frightened to death, fear and hype and the whole thing. Do I think the pricing models are changing? Yes. Do I think the move to agentic AI is the direction that things went? Yes. Do I think these are the biggest stories in CRM CX and customer engagement? I'm going to have to kind of say, and I don't mean it the way it's going to come out. Why not? Right? They are huge stories. There's no question, and they are very specific. But in the course of agentic AI, for example, it goes well beyond CRM itself and CX or customer engagement, and so does the SaaS apocalypse story go beyond that, which is actually what makes it interesting. I don't think I would have given Salesforce's acquisition of Fin the play that the AIs gave it. I think it was an acquisition. It was something Salesforce needed, but it was basically, how would I put it? They were filling a space. It was a technology acquisition. Wasn't giant and strategic. I guess from the standpoint of what they're trying to do, it represents the point, right? So, which is okay. But so, I mean, that's the best I can say this time. I love the idea of this segment, though, I have to say. You know what I think? It should substitute for
no, we won't do that. Just quickly, I think they were on the right kind of pathway. I think the biggest story it has been at least not just for like the insider folks, but like all companies and even the financial folks. It is trying to figure out this AI anxiety, which is partially around the investment. Are we ever going to see people make money off of this? How do enterprises price this stuff? How do companies help people understand how much tokens they're going to? That to me is still the big story of this half of the year. Not just the how these companies are going about it via acquisitions or whatever, but just the idea of people are still don't know what the hell to do in the big scheme of things, and if this is going to actually pay off for them in the big scheme of things.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty big.
To your point, I don't know. These aren't really stories; they're more like the biggest trends, right? That happen to be reported on, which is a different thing. But at the same time, let's put it this way: I agree with you. I agree with what I said, and I think this should be a segment. I'm really going to be curious. It would be interesting. If there are any people who are in our audience who have a question they want us to submit to the AIs that we can respond to, but also you will be able to respond to it too. Send it to us via LinkedIn. Okay.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we ask the guy in the green room what he thinks? Because he's used to giving advice to executive kind of people.
Is he an advisor?
He's an advisor person, the one and only Esteban Kolsky.
So wait, are you making alcohol now? You're the chief distiller.
I drink it. I don't make it.
Looks like you got a better camera. Your camera's looking pretty good.
I got a better angle. I did video training this week, so the first thing she said is like, "Dude, your angle sucks."
You got the light. You got the light at it. I mean, the light is coming in at the right angle now. I mean, it does look good.
I changed a lot of things. It's still not there, but I'm 70% where I want it to be.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's an immediate noticeable thing. It looks a lot, but now we got to work on your audio. That's still the same.
Yeah, I know. But I have a good Elgato. I don't know. I need to get a different mic. I have a Elgato that is pretty decent, but it for some reason doesn't capture well my audio.
The Wave 3. Yeah, that's the one you probably have.
I tried.
USB.
I tried all the different angles and setups and everything. So I'm gonna.
You know what?
Try
Go
different things.
go XLR. It's time.
Okay.
Yeah, once
It's
you go
time.
XLR, you never go back, man.
I'll talk to you afterwards. I have an idea.
My only
for you.
problem with this angle is that the light makes me look more white than Jewish, but I'm okay with that.
We'll look over that part. And so
Well, did I say,
So
I
you
can
want me
make
to
up
tell
for
you
your
why? You want me
Jewishness.
to tell you why all three LLMs are wrong?
yeah, that's
that
what
what
you're
you're
here
asking
for,
me?
man.
Yes.
That's what you do so well, man.
That's
Go
what I
right
think.
ahead.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. We're gonna omit the fact that we're gonna talk about talent. We'll talk about that next time. But
Okay.
This is actually a very
Okay.
interesting proposition because what the LLMs are doing. There's two things they're doing. Number one, keep in mind that LLMs have the aggregate knowledge of the internet, which by itself is pretty fucking low. And I'm saying that with all the love in my heart for the aggregate knowledge of the internet. Okay. So if everybody talks about, let's say, Salesforce acquiring Fin, SaaS Apocalypse, and agentic AI, LLMs are going to say, oh, these are the biggest stories. But they're not talking to the right people. They're just listening to the people that want to
Talk.
All right, I gotta show you guys a visual because I held back a little piece of information. I think it's gonna play right into what you just said. All right, so each of those topics they came up with.
Everybody who has an opinion is putting on the internet that those are the three biggest stories, and then the LLMs are going to pick them up and they're going to summarize as the three biggest stories. And the reality is they're wrong.
Look.
This is not what real AI leading companies are focused on. I mean, actually, my next report is going to be the first report in over a year that is going to have AI as a secondary topic, because nobody gives a flying butt ass about AI anymore. It's a done deal. I
just want to show you this. This is one of the top 2 story from Claude. And with each of these, they list the reference links that they got their information from. So this one, conversational commerce chat platforms become a new front door for CX. Look what the source was.
Yeah.
It was Salesforce. So how they need to do something to take into consideration where these sources, like you were saying, where the sources are coming from in order to make up a list like this, because you really shouldn't be pulling vendor stuff to make up a list like this.
Well, you know what?
My basic instructions for my trained agents is like no vendor stuff whatsoever.
That's where you do it. Yeah. That's where you do it.
But if you don't do that, that's what you get, because they pump out a lot of stuff.
But again, it's a cacophony. It's a cacophony of like stupidity. That's what LLMs became. They just keep repeating the same stupidity over and over and over again. And Christopher is right. We've been idiots for like 25 years, and we want to think that LLMs are going to be able to figure that out. But that's not the worst part that the LLMs are doing. The worst part that they're doing is that they're doing the same thing that a lot of analyst firms continue to do, which is reporting the past as if it was the future. I mean, what happened is not what will happen. When you talk at an executive level, the last 12 months are worthless. We don't discuss that. The next 9 months are already baked in. We talk about 9 months into the future. 9 to 36 months is a conversation topic at a board level or an executive level. We assume that what's going to happen in the next 9 months is already baked in by what we did over the last 6 months. If that's going to happen, then there is something wrong in the last 6 months. Being shocked by something that happens at the executive level is like being shocked by the results of a survey. You're asking the wrong questions if you're shocked. You're looking at the wrong metrics. You're looking at the wrong things if you're shocked. You're building something for 3 years out, not for like 6 months out or for a year out. I mean, we are in July, basically summer. July, August are gone. The last 3-4 months of the year, they're not going to be about 2026. We're really talking about 2027. And we're talking about it in the terms of infrastructure, not about AI, not about agentic. We had 3, 4, 5 months early in the year to prove the value of agentic. We failed to prove the value of agentic AI. We proved that it's limited, just like LLM, to a few use cases where it makes sense. And now it's time to move on and figure out what we're going to do. And we are certainly back to where we were in the conversations that I'm having in November of 2024, which is not about applications. It's not about infrastructure. It's about how do you create a stable growth for the organization in a resilient and sustainable manner. That's what we're talking about, like we were talking about before ChatGPT and all these things became distractions over the last 2 years.
So
That's it.
So I think you're helping us really make this an interesting segment. Maybe what we should do is come up with a question, ask some of our friends to give their best answer, and then we'll actually ask the LLMs to give us their best answer and see which ones we like best. I think
Okay.
because
gonna
what
put
you
money-
just what do you
I'm going to put money that 1/3 to 1/2 of your friends' answers would be very, very, very similar, if not the same as the LLM.
cheaters?
That's what they're gonna originate from.
Cheater. We need people that we can trust to not just run to the LLM to get the answer. I think this could be a really interesting thing because we know a lot of people and they've been around this area for years, and we should be able to ask them questions, get real answers, and then compare those answers to the LLMs and see where if you're right about this, Esteban.
I would make it a more interesting segment, which is like defeat the LLM. Like
How do you
give them a
defeat the
question,
LLM?
do this live, give the question to the LLM,
Ooh,
have them counter the LLM answer in real time.
I like that. So we'll invite people on. We'll give them the
debate an
prompts.
LLM.
Well, they'll debate their answers because they're going to have an answer. Then we'll see what the LLMs say, and then there's the debate.
Which is
make it so they don't know
debate
the question
with the
beforehand.
LLM.
Otherwise, it's not interesting. But make it so like you go to the LLM and you put a question, you ask it to give you a short answer. You provide the short answer and have people like counter that. That's more interesting. That brings more value to the role of an advisor of a trusted person versus somebody.
IRL.
Sorry, Paul.
No, that could definitely be a section. That'll definitely be a session at the.
Well, what we'll do is we'll do the empty chair thing, but the empty chair will be the LLM.
Let's see what Christopher says. I think you should flip the script rather than having the LLMs provide the answers and a friend be the arbiter. Have the friends provide the answers and have the LLMs red team those answers.
Why?
Have you ever?
I don't.
As somebody who often uses one of my agents to red team my content. No.
Hey, Christopher, I definitely got to meet you.
That's all I can tell you.
No, I happen to agree with you on this one, Esteban. I
do that often. I go to my final content to my agent. I have one agent that is supposed to be the curmudgeon, and I said, okay, tell me what this is wrong. And the answers that come up sometimes are so stupid, which is no other word to tell you that. They're marred in people with no experience in real world, that they're just looking at content that is already pre-canned.
Well, they're not distinct. They're not really you can, unless you tell it exactly how to distinguish content, it doesn't, right? I mean, you literally have to say, well, don't use this, use this, but only this way, and use that only that way, or else you'll just get kind of a big blah.
Yeah.
Look, I run across that all the time. And to your point, I have instructions in my Claude instructions are highly specific. One of the big ones is stop guessing and go look for it instead.
So
here's spends its time guessing.
Here's why I'm a great guest for any show. Okay, I'm going to dovetail this into HubSpot. How's about?
Look at that! We're bringing it together. All right, go ahead, man.
So the thing is, like, to have the LLMs red team implies that they have access to information that is not known. Otherwise, you cannot, red team. You cannot red team on something that is already created for something that's already established. There's no point in that. It's like all they can tell you is you missed a word, you missed a syntax, something like that. But there's no ideas that are unique. There's no innovation. There's nothing that is different that comes from an LLM. There's no imagination. There's no innovation. There's no intuition. There's nothing that changes. No experience. It's only expertise. And expertise is, canned and commoditized, so it doesn't matter. The problem with what HubSpot is doing is they're doing the same. They're creating more canned content, but without specific questions being asked. So I can take all the data and I can process the data. And this is a mistake a lot of people make, which is thinking that more data makes for better models. And it's actually the opposite. The right data makes for a better model, not the more data makes for a better model. So HubSpot can go and take all the data in the world, which I'm assuming that they would have done already before they did this. They're just asking for permission. They're not asking for permission. They're asking for forgiveness for what they already did.
Yeah, right.
But that's just my statement. I mean, I don't know anything. I don't know if this is true. So if they want to sue me, I'm saying this is just a speculation.
You got to get that damn disclaimer back out.
Yeah,
right?
that's all right.
But the
wrote it
thing is,
into
like,
my
you know, I
thing.
mean, more data will not give them anything, and having more data is just that. It's just data. There's no experience, and even better. I mean, this dovetails into the content that I wanted to talk about today, which is about talent. We don't need expertise. We need experience. We need people that know how to do what to do, not people that actually know the content. The content is simple. The context is becoming better. We're not there yet, but it's becoming better. But experience, the intent itself, that's what we're missing. And that's what is missing in putting more data in the model. And that's what's missing in having an LLM red team something with that more than just expertise. Expertise is commoditized at any level. There's nothing that I know that it doesn't exist out there already. And I was saying this in 2005 when I was a gardener. You can drink, Brent. When I was a gardener, we were combating blogs and people putting stuff all over the place. Was the fact that expertise was becoming commoditized back then, and is fully commoditized right now.
Well, I think that the issue is, I remember saying this years ago. People want to just collect data. They don't even know what the hell they're going to do with it in the future. But if they have it, then they know they can do something with it eventually. So this goes back to all the data. What are those data collecting services that they just gather and gather and gather? They say, well, we'll figure out what to do and how to sell it later. But as long as we got it, there's gold in them, their data. And it's kind of sad because we know there's a lot of information in enterprise systems. And to take that step of the opt-in step, enterprise software companies can't do that. It breaks all the trust or little trust there was in these systems. But if they take this step, if they go the meta step, you're going to get lawsuits, legal stuff going, all sorts of regulation that you never had to worry about in the US. They do it over other places. But I think what happened with HubSpot, I hope people really take this at heart and don't do that step again. Because if that continues, where do we go? Where do enterprises go with their customer data, which opens them up to all sorts of legal stuff?
And but that's just one part of it. It's not just the opening to legal ramifications, which by itself should be more than enough. But it's the fact that, your customers trust you with the data because it makes no sense and it has no meaning for anybody else. It doesn't matter to anybody else. I mean, I'm not going to share who your customers are, but I'm assuming, I didn't read what the thing was, but I'm assuming that this is about aggregating data so that you can train better models. But if you aggregate data, then it's not recognizable anymore. So it doesn't matter. You're not giving up any secrets by allowing people to use your data. Your belief that your data is so powerful and so good, oh my God, be real, dude. Anybody's data is 40% crap on a good day.
Well, you know what? The other side to your point is that, remember how there was this phase for a while where there were dozens and dozens of companies trying to create data services with all their aggregate data. And I to my knowledge, and my knowledge is reasonably extensive here, not a single one of them succeeded because, to your point, that data became worthless at that point because it's anonymous data. It means nothing. The best you could do is have a bar chart that had a taller, rectangle and another bar chart. And it was just stupid. And it always failed because nobody wanted anonymized data. They wanted data that's relevant to them, right? So you might, if where anonymized data works, a market research firm, right? It does not work for people selling the data to a company.
I'm
their
assuming
interpretation of results is what matters.
I'm assuming the goal for HubSpot is something like create industry or company size or similar companies information that could be used to create better outcomes. I'm guessing. Again, I haven't read it. I have no interest in that.
Better outcomes is definitely what they were looking for.
Yeah.
I'm going to put in my instructions. Stop guessing.
The number of people that you need to have that are similar to have data that is clean, valuable, and worth it, and all the processes that you have to do, you don't get any insights on that. I mean, you get an insight once in a while, maybe, but it's not worth the alienation. So, I mean, I don't understand what they were thinking. And I'm thinking that it was just, like you said, the stock price is in the crapper and they're trying to do something, whatever it is, So trends are not even good for 48 hours. A trend is as good as the moment that you put it out there. Immediately after you publish it, Schroeder's cut, whatever, the quantum takes in. And as soon as you publish a trend, the trend changes by the fact that it's known. So
right, by the very publication of the trend.
Yeah. Any trend that you publish, change it because people now actually think that it's a trend and they're going to get behind it. So, but it doesn't matter. The point is like more data doesn't do anything. What you need to do is you need to go and find experienced people that can do something with the data that you have, and then use the data to do that. And we realized that AI is not the answer that we were promised. And we're looking at what we're building next year that will incorporate AI, but will not be based on AI. And that's where the conversations are for 2027.
I agree with you 1,027%.
That's it.
I was doing every year of this.
You're extrapolating
every year of this century. I'm adding 1% for every year of the century, right? So
we completely hijacked what you were going to talk about.
That's okay. Right. We did cover. I mean, I'm a great guest. I covered what I wanted to say. I talked about HubSpot. I did talk about everything.
That's the way you do it, man. That's the way I used to do advisory work.
My media training is paying off,
No, it's what it is. You get an agenda, you say, okay, and then you do what you need to do. It's like the late, great Mary Wardley's video that you showed. She was told, okay, well, give us one item. She said, well, I have two, and she covered both.
You gotta hijack the conversation. You can't have it about what you want.
That's exactly it.
By the way, you're 2 for 2 in terms of slamming analyst firm stuff. First time you came on,
and I will continue because I'm actually have a 5-page report that I'm writing about it, and there's 2 good lines in there to the analyst firms, and that's it.
Wow.
The value has run its course. The value has run its course, and it's their own fault. It's nobody else's fault but their own.
Well, then the question, which is for another day, obviously, but the question becomes, is that going to matter to the people out there who want to be in the Magic Quadrant or want to be on the wave or whatever, right? And there, again, there are good
There's value in being in there still. I don't know if it's gone yet, but people still buy based off of that, right?
Market demand is going to continue to be one of the key points that analysts can deliver, but they have no ability to look into the future because they don't have the experience, and they have no ability to generate content that is original because they're just basically aggregators of information. And the biggest part is that decision making has shifted up. There's no more decisions being made at the level that analyst firms play, and they're really not playing well at the level where decisions are being made.
Yeah, well, it'll boil down to how good is the individual analyst who happens to be participating in whatever.
Yeah, always.
And it's kind of always boiled down to that. It's like, if you had Gartner, how many of the people at Gartner did you trust? Like 5, right? And then everybody else was either a non-entity because you didn't know them, and they're not non-entities as people, but you didn't know them, or you just didn't trust them at all, right? So always was like that.
Well, we actually have
Gartner, right? Without picking on Gartner and continuing that thought process, how many of those people that you like and trusted at Gartner are still there versus people that were brought in to be content creators
at Gartner? Nobody. At Forrester, there's Kate and people like that.
I can count a handful of people across the industry, but the rest were just brought in to be content creators. And when Gartner, Forrester, and IDC became another YouTube, content creator, then they get what they pay for.
Yeah, we actually have an AR person in the comments section, Alan Berkson. Alan, how do you guys look at these traditional firms? Do you still work with them? All right. Do you still work with them like the same as you did before the rise of all this stuff? Well, I know you're in an interesting position right now because of what's going on. But just if you have any general thoughts about like how you work or how you think you'll work with these kinds of firms in the future going forward, or do you think there's a significant change in the way that you interact with these folks and what you do with them?
Or there should be a significant change in the way you interact with people.
Yeah. Maybe that's a good prompt question.
There always should be. There's no way you're going to be doing the same thing you were doing 20 years ago, right? I mean, it's going to evolve and constantly based on the evolution of the analysts and the people you're dealing with. I mean, there's no more Michael Mallows and Ed Thompsons and Scott Nelsons.
No, I know.
But are there some different things that are in the future that even though you won't have that, you might have the equivalent, but it just looks or does things differently?
Not through an organized research firm that requires repeatability and margins.
and utilization.
Yeah.
Well, if we're asking these software companies to change the way that they deliver software and the way they price it and bill it, what about these analyst firms? Are they going to have to do the same?
That'd be a good executive roundtable.
All right, Alan says analyst firms are still a unique nexus. Nexus of information, like a proxy, a customer advisory board. So but is it the same? Do they have the same place in your tool belt?
The decision making process changed. They don't play as well as they did.
That's what. Well, so Alan, based on that, do you use them in a different way, or do you expect something that they don't do that they're going to have to do in order to stay working with you? I know this is going to get too long in the comments. This sounds like a show. This sounds like a good segment.
So one more thing, Christopher, send me a message on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to look at what you're working on.
He's great, man.
He's been our best
commenter.
Commenter
Him
over the
Alan.
last couple of months. Alan's a Jets fan. I can't give him that, but
well, you know what? I'm a New Yorker. I'll still give him I will give New Yorkers, any New Yorker, whatever their team is.
Jets and Mets, dude. Jets and Mets. You can't let him know that he's right. He's not used to winning.
Anyway, I like the feedback we got for the Playaz versus the LLMs. We're going to figure that one out.
Although, we still have some tweaking, but it's a good segment.
I think so.
Another one, Brent. You are coming up with them.
When I come back in
Brent, you are cranking out the segments, man. I'll tell you.
We got segments. All right.
When I come back in 4 weeks or so, let's talk about a future without AI.
Oh, is that what we're going to be doing for strategic advisory next time around?
That's what we are doing for a strategic advisory.
That's strategic advisory.
So did I hear it right? Did I hear that you do like that name? Do you like the name of that segment? Is that?
Yeah, I like the name. You can keep
it. Right. There it is, dude. That's what I was looking for.
That's it. We have a lot of segments now.
But some of them are just monthly. That's good.
But I need a logo or something, dude. You can't just throw me in there. You know?
Yeah, we'll hook you up. I just did a little.
You can change the name of the advisor, the disclaimer to advisory disclaimer now.
Wow. All right. We're a little over, but that's okay. It was good. Oh, so he says he's still using them the same way. All right.
Okay.
We'll see. All right. So on behalf of the irascible one, the only one, Esteban Kolsky, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz. I'll see you next week. He won't.
You'll be doing.
If you need a guest host, I'll be happy to guest host with you.
Oh, maybe we'll do a few good minutes because we can only do
the two of you together. That would be awesome.
All right, we can continue this conversation.
That's the way to go.
So I always like to make new friends.
It's a plan,
and it's also a plan to say goodbye or hello to Minnie before we say
always.
Everybody,
love you, Minnie.
See ya.
Bye.